the heartbeat of branding is human connection.
Hmm.
So when the uprise of AI was really growing about 2 years ago, I was 100% against it. I'm like, why would we do this? This doesn't make any sense for who we are and how we connect human to human, which is so important to us. But she kept telling me, like, you just got to think about how can you use this tool to support the human intelligence you
Yep.
already have. So it's not that it is the thing that leads the way, it's actually the thing that supports the human intelligence that you walk in the room with. So over the last 2 years, there's been a lot of updates and trainings and tweaks that
Hmm.
we have learned kind of behind the scenes for those of our clients that have been early adopters, and then even for ourselves to really test and see how can we use it in the right ways while still having that incredible human connection that's going to
Yep.
lock in soul to soul with our clients.
Yep. AI is absolutely fantastic at spitting out content, but it's not going to spit out the right content if it doesn't have the right context.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's where people are missing the mark. They're jumping in on AI and they're feeding it little tiny bits of information about their business. And then AI kind of catches on and then it kind of gets it right. But then what they do is they spend a lot of time back and forth trying to get that blog article just right or whatever it is they're creating. And there's always something there that just doesn't sound right or sounds too I don't know, over the top, generic.
Cheesy.
When we go through like our Get Clear workshop, for example, there is a ton of exercises and documents and things and information that we're pulling out of our clients in order to build their brand. And when you take all of those elements, those foundational elements,
Yeah.
and you start feeding those into any AI tool, all of a sudden the results you get are on target. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say they're perfect. I'm not going to say, oh, look, you can copy paste right out of this into your
Absolutely
website. It's
not.
fantastic. But it's really, really close. Like you'll get that and you'll be like, okay, I can tweak a little bit here. Let's remove this sentence, rah, 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 and you can move on. Because when you start feeding in things into AI, like your core values, and you
Yes.
start feeding in phrases that you use, if you explain what your products are and how they're used and when they get offered and all that stuff, and you start really building that up into a profile,
Mhm.
then you start getting the real results that actually sound like you. I'd also add in things like your brand personas and putting in we do an exercise called brand attributes and putting that information in there, and you get some really stellar content back that you don't have to spend a lot of time tweaking. And I'm not even talking about just blog posts and social media, this and that. I'm talking about if I sit down to have a brainstorming session or I start doing research, I start getting back information that is actually relevant and useful instead
Yeah.
of high level generic stuff.
It's almost like if you've ever done any form of acting, or if you think of the process an actor goes through. Yeah, they've been given a script, but until they know, like, what's the setting, who are
Mhm.
the other people they're interacting with, what is the past that this character had that they're bringing into this exact moment, all of those context clues like we talked about. If you think of the actors that go really method
Mhm.
and like dive deep into the history of who their character is and what they've experienced, those are the actors that step on stage and you would never know it was acting,
Yep.
because they are feeling every single emotion, they're in that exact moment. And that is literally the level that you need to go to when you're working with any AI, so that you're really giving it all of that background. What are my clients not just wanting to buy, but
Mhm.
what were they experiencing to lead them to the place of wanting to buy it? Like, what is the foundation of your brand? Does AI know that? What do you stand for? What are your values, your mission, the reasons that you care, the things that you're passionate about? These are the things we really have to consider so that we're setting the stage for the tools to be most supportive of you.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important.
Yeah. And one of the things that I want to point out is you just don't want it to be, you don't want the content to be generic.
Yeah,
That's what you're getting out of AI,
most
just with
AI.
most AI.
Ugh.
And here's the thing, we have figured out how to fast track
Yeah.
that. Instead of, like I said, a lot of people, they piecemeal it together. They're like, oh, it didn't spit out this information, so let me tell it this and try again. And so they're like just like little like nibbles to this thing instead of like here's the whole like 10-course meal of my
Yes.
brand. And then if you start from there, then you are starting with I mean, you're like next leveling your AI, because
100%.
you're able to you're able to move faster, you're able to create stuff, products faster, you're able to just anything faster because now it knows your brand.
And it's really coming together with that framework of knowing exactly what your brand stands for and how you want to input that. Like once you have that structure, then it makes it so much faster for the tools to do their job. And then that means that it's going to amplify the right message,
Yeah.
not the generic
Yeah.
message. You know, because that is the thing that like, I mean, it makes my blood boil. I don't like to admit that. This
Yeah.
is about what is that time, that care, that thought that we can put into it that will then really help accelerate the quality of
Mm-hmm.
what we're able to get from AI. And it's going to be able to take the information you give it and amplify it. So when you can come in with that brand foundation figured out and ready to go, then you have all of the context, all of the background that's needed to really help the AI come in and be supportive of what you're trying to accomplish. And that's exactly what we have been working
Mm-hmm.
on. We've taken all of that information and all the ways that we help set a brand foundation for our clients and mapped out how can we feed this information successfully into AI tools so that they are finally working for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to be on that waiting list for that program, click below, get on the waiting list. We can't wait to share with you exactly what we've been doing to help grow bigger brands and help you connect on a heart to heart level with your audience.